Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 22nd day of December, 2023, Friday of the third and final week of Advent. It is also 3 days until Christmas Day. So just if you keep counting, if you are now in last moment emergency full throttle roll to be able to get Christmas completed, you have 3 days until Christmas Day. Remember, though, Christmas begins the Christmas season. It does not conclude anything. In fact, Advent doesn't really ever conclude. It just mutates into Christmas. And January the 8th will be the last day of the Christmas season. So whatever you don't complete before Monday, you have until the 8th of January to complete. Remember that. Coming to you from the inside of our church, where, as you can see, our magnificent, glorious tree has been set up, as well as a lot of the initial work to create Christmas here in our church. More needs to be done. We still have the fourth Sunday of Advent to experience. And so once that is done, the rest of Advent, the rest of Christmas will be set forth and set up. So on this Friday of the third week of Advent, let's see, the Antiphon for today is Rex Gentium, O King of the Nations. Again, the fact that Christ does not come for Israel alone, but comes for all people, whether you believe or not, whether you call yourself or title yourself a Christian or not. This is the Christ who comes for all of humanity. Again, a controversial, a very difficult statement, a challenging statement for many people, but yet this is what we believe, that this Christ comes for all of us as human beings, and not just for a select group, or even a select group who dares to believe, or not to believe. The thing I looked up, for some reason Mass is odd, but it's always odd, but the antiphon for yesterday, if you celebrated evening prayer, the Magnificat antiphon would have been O Radiant Dawn, or Oriens in Latin. The Liturgy of the Hours, I think, like I said yesterday, it continues, it makes consistent the praying of each of the O antiphons at evening prayer, although they are not often replicated at Mass the way that they should be, depending on what day of the week Mass happens to be and things like that. So today, though, is Rex Gentium. Tomorrow would be Emmanuel on the 23rd. So it keeps moving in that kind of direction. So we remember and pray again for a God who is King of all the nations, of all peoples. And in order to do so, we have another child whose birth occurs, but whose life is going to be led in wonder and glory for the glory of God, and that is Samuel. So we don't hear the first part of the story where Hannah is praying for a son, and the priest at the temple that she is praying at in Shiloh, it is, in the north of Israel, basically thinks that she's drunk. And she's just muttering. But now she brings Samuel back to the temple as an offering to God and says to the priest who's there, remember when you thought I was drunk and just uttering nonsense and praying for a child? Well, look what God saw fit to give me. So again, another woman who puts a man in his place, which is always a wonderful thing. So that's the whole point. Sometimes the way that God works is to put those who think they are pious and holy in their proper place. And this is what Hannah does in presenting Samuel to the temple. Now Samuel will become the one who will anoint King David and begin the great line that will lead to the Christ. And so we hear of Samuel's, not just Samuel's birth, but now his special designation as becoming a child who will witness the line that will lead to the Messiah. In the Gospel today, again, we continue with the story of the Annunciation. On Wednesday, we had Gabriel appearing to Mary. On yesterday, we had Mary going in haste to the hill country of Judea. Today, we have the great Magnificat. And again, this wonderful poem, this wonderful song that Mary sings in response to Elizabeth saying that blessed is she who believed that what God promised would be fulfilled, is not a song for the weak. It's not a song for those who do not have strong hearts. It is not just Mary giving off some wonderful poetry. It is Mary being radical, Mary being rebellious, Mary basically overturning the way the status quo seems to operate and saying that this is how God indeed operates, by casting down the mighty from their thrones, by raising up the lowly, by giving the hungry food and sending the rich empty away, that this is a God of reversals, of great cultural, social, economic, and political reversals. This is the God whose child Mary is bearing. And she dares, again, in this young age that she happens to be, to speak such prophecy, a prophecy that would frighten and cause those who control and have authority and think they are powerful to quake in their boots, because this is a God who is coming coming to do what is right, a God who is coming to put the world right, a God who is coming not to punish, not to abandon, not to destroy, but a God who is coming to fulfill the promises that God has made. A continued blessed last days of the Advent season, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.